Alright, you can hear me now. Hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone the world you all are. It's your Blue Archive Gacha Whale, beginner artist self-proclaimed, and your boy Tosanyo. Welcome to the stream. For today I will be doing art stream, and with that VTuber fan art for this time, and like again as well. I'm drawing like every single week, at least like once, like via the art streams, you know. And my goal like currently is like to draw every single Hololive member. So you're gonna like see that progress for the stream here, in which I will like draw Aki Rosenthal. At least I will try. It's not actually my first time drawing her. I did like a tried art stream before, but let's say like there was scuff, so I didn't really like got to do one, but now here we are. You can expect like quality regarding my art style and everything, like something similar to the sample on the left side. And it can like take about 2 hours on average. This will be like the program, and while this happens, a slow art progress. I don't know if like 2 hours is slow, you know, but during that time I will be yapping, so you can feel free to like listen to that, or like just mute me and then just like keep that in the background, I don't know, or whatever, you know. Ah, man, I was like kind of like waiting for today to like draw again. I don't know, like work. Let's say like today I didn't really slept well. My fault, night owl kind of thing. It's like the kind of night owl kind of stat from Umamisime, you know. But it was not necessarily because of Umamisime, you know, why I like stayed up so late. And while my energy was kind of low, like besides sleep, I didn't really eat much this morning. So things that could like restore my energy, you know, there was not that much there. So I'm kind of glad that I now back home, that I could like eat a little bit more, like take my time to relax. Like every single time, like during work, during my job, when there was like break time, I was like really thankful, since I really needed like some time to rest. And like after eating, man, I felt like so good. It's just like during eating maybe not good, but after I processed like the food, then I finally felt like energy comes back. And man, eating is like very mandatory. When you're like gaming or whatever, you kind of like more or less like blend it out, you know, when you're like kind of hyper focused on like your craft or like getting a good run or so. And the thing is, like when you get hungry, yeah, kind of hunter's instinct, you know, if as a man gets like awakened, you know, and sharpens like your kind of senses. But during a survival kind of thing, it's like double-edged sword, because you're hungry, you lack like the energy and power. But if it's like gaming, for example, sharpened senses, you don't really need like muscle power, you know. It's just like better reaction speed or whatever, for example. Like if you kind of like think it like that, you know. And some gamers, you know, pro players have like kind of the strat that they don't eat until everything's over, you know. Like they kind of like fast, more or less, you know, that they handicap themselves with like not eating for a bit, for a while, you know, until they get like kicked out. Let's say not kicked out in a literal sense, but if they manage to lose and with that get a certain placing in the tournament, then it's like over, you know, and then they can eat. It's kind of like a reward, more or less, kind of. But at some point we humans need to eat, you know? We need to like power up, replenish like our energy and such. Yeah, I needed that too. For my work it was not really like that good because it's like manual labor, you know? Like you have to, it's not like in a office kind of thing, but you have like to actually do the thing yourselves, you know? And yeah, I kind of like operated on willpower mostly to like operate, kind of. It's like literally willpower. Like I had a little bit of strength left, things like my muscles, but overall I pushed like myself like via willpower, and it's just like yeah. You know what? Instead of like doing a full body, let's do like a half body one. We're gonna like do that a little bit bigger, in that case. It's like not necessarily my first time drawing her, but it feels like it's gonna be the first time. So I'm gonna like do my best here. Since a chibi star, I can kind of simplify things and let's say don't have to take like things too serious in terms of like rules. Talking like about the art process. But man, maybe because of the lack of food, you know, that there's like not much on my brain. Like the body's like kind of satisfied, but man, I really should like eat more. Have you eaten? In like some kind of culture, this is like kind of the equivalent of like, how are you, right? What's up? And yeah, I suppose like you can really see it like that, asking someone this question, it might like lead towards hey, wanna share, you know, like something like that. But in a sense, I do like see that. It does also affect your mood when you're like hungry or so. For my part, when I was really low in energy regarding food and like not enough sleep, I kinda like was like an autopilot or some things. And it actually affected my concentration that I got like called out for that once and then be like, hey, please focus next time, don't do this, don't do a mistake like that ever again. I did like some mistake there and I got called out, and then it's like, yeah, I try my best. I'll try. Something like that, you know. Yes, bad Tosan, bad Tosan. Didn't do a good job today. Have to do better next time. I'm not like sure what to do there. Actually, I have an idea. Yeah. Yeah, let's do something like a little bit derp. Yeah. 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 I think I have an idea. It's gonna be simple. Maybe I can like do it in 1 hour. I don't know. Like draw one hand, let's say. Kind of like lazy to do more than one. I'm also gonna adjust the mic. And yep, alright. Alright. I was like thinking about, you know, now that I'm back home, to like stream my Champions Meet, but like not sure like at what time like it resets with the Champions Meet tickets. Maybe like in more than 2 hours or so. Like not quite sure about that. Like Champions Meet in Übermissime. I was like kind of thinking about streaming it after I'm like done with the art, but yeah. But also not sure like if I do it in the same stream or if I like open like a new waiting room and like set up everything there, you know. Like it's like more or less like a Satsudan. With like some horse racing like in between, I think. But what would be great if there's like a concert, you know? Like for those Champions meetings. I think like in some of the JP or like in JP they have like this there as well. And I think this would be like nice to see. Of course it will be unlocked, I suppose, and then you can like choose your existing Umas and outfits and like try to like, you know, get experience like that way. But if it's like exactly like after winning a race, kind of like feels rewarding. To be honest, the thing is like when you have like talking, some gameplay action and then like some banger music like in the background, I do like that. If I'm like honest. Usually like when I go to karaoke streams and then turn off the screen, you know, let like it play like in the background, have like an earphone on, then yeah, just like usually what I kind of like to like listen to. But when it's like only talking, it's also like fine. But then they have like to carry off the storytelling, of course. If it's just like occasionally like comment, you know, the reaction to like something, you know, like that's like what I mean with comments on stuff. Yeah, maybe not that great. Unless, maybe there's no unless really. Even if they have like a goddess's voice, if they're like really boring, then that's about it, you know. Even if there's like a language barrier, for example, like with Japanese, you know. But to be honest, like Japanese I got like better. I can understand the context somewhat. And I start like to try reading more and more. And I sometimes get surprised, heavily, like especially surprised that I actually like am able to like pull off something regarding the reading of like some Japanese there. Of course, like when it's too much kanji, then I might give up, but and like resort to like checking out like what it means like via a app, you know. But usually like I will try every single time to like read it on my own first, you know, and like via memory, or do you read this kanji like this, you know. But it's good, and sometimes I do I can read. If it's like something shorter, for example, like a tweet, you know. But if it's like a reply to a tweet, it can be like even easier to read if it's like a one word or like, you know, like one word sentence. And you know, like in a sense it can like teach like, okay, this is like how Japanese usually like speak, right, for example, right? Like this is a new vocab you more or less learn. You might understand, like, at least I understand like more or less like the meaning, but not like what do they usually say, you know, like in an anime it's like very different from what they say in real life. Things like ojo-samas, deri and so, they don't really exist, you know. Like kuderes, yeah, maybe, you know, but there's nothing like ara one-san there really, or like you know, like those kind of archetypes. Some are like relatable, some archetypes, but some are like one character trait like tuned up, and then you know, it's not real, of course. So has she ears? Let me see. Yeah, she has ears. Let's go. And I can draw her ears if I can't cover it up with the hair. Luna. You know, I was kind of like thinking if I'm gonna stream my champions meeting in Imamisime. I was like kind of thinking about trying Haruurara as well. You probably have had the news about the racehorse Haruurara, that she has passed away. And like a lot of people grieved about that, you know, like each and everyone like in an individual way. Some are like, you know, as a sign of respect, like salute, you know, rest in peace. But I, as an you know, artist, you know, you can do that with like, you know, your craft. Like kind of like leaving a gift, or more or less, you know. They live a really good life. Haruurara lived a good life. If I think about it. I was kind of like sad, you know. But at the same time, she inspired like a lot of people. Right? Did like a good thing. While this was her own journey, it touched like other people. And it's like inspiration. There's like this kind of thing that like the fan base created, you know, like with the, you know, crying girl, you know, and then like the Giga chat, you know. Like, why don't you ever give up? Because she never did, you know. Like, and then a lot of PNGs of like Haruurara in this kind of context. I think like regarding VTubers, you know, Aki was maybe like one of those who, I'm not sure if I remember correctly. Like it might be outdated, my memory, you know, when I kind of mix things up. I do like know a lot about a lot of the names of like VTubers, especially like including Niji-sanji JP, you know, when I was like looking through a lot of clips from 2019 to 2022, like in this kind of age, where I had like a lot of free time. And I think like, if I remember correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you know, Aki was like one that were like kind of like considering giving up, you know, similar to like Miko in the beginning, until, you know, they popped off via a clip, you know, like GTA for example, like for Miko's case. And for like Aski's, she was like pretty much under the radar, you know, for like some of the overseas pros. But she in her own way also like got attention, and with that like a loyal fan base. I can like, if I remember correctly, of course, you know. Like there are a lot of like cases in like VTuber careers, you know, like Corpus, especially like, you know, like when in the beginning was kind of uncertain, can this even work out? And I think like before COVID was like especially like the case, you know, since there was like not much of the need to look like into like entertainment from like live streamers, right? Like if you want entertainment and you're like short on time, you know, like after school, after like work, then it's like those anime or like movies, you know, anime series episodes can be like 20 minutes, or like actual TV series can be 50 minutes, you know, films, movies, like 90 minutes, 2 hours even. And yeah, but if you're like short on time, like those TV, you know, series that are like a little bit short on time. Live streams? Maybe you go to videos instead, you know, that are like a little bit shorter. So live streams was not really like something I would have considered like entertaining myself with, I think. If I kinda like assert myself into the situation. And I really watched like a lot of like videos, especially when I was like into Toho a lot. But at some point something got like recommended regarding like Hololive and Toho, you know, like for Shomari, and then that's like how I got into there. Some people like found out via like Fibuki. You have Scatman. Koren is Ikumbokum, but it's like a lot later. I think like 2 years later. 1 year or 2 years later, I don't know. It's not really like sort of like some established YouTubers, they kind of like sort of gimmick, you know, but as time goes on, you know, a lot of people like also like accept the fact that it's like obviously something useful. Like some look at it as a tech kind of thing, but there's like a lot more than like tech, you know. Like you can build an identity with that. You don't really have to show you who you are. You can be anonymous, you know. And especially like in the internet kind of day and age, it can be like important to like keep that. Since when like learning about a VTuber, you know, and getting connected with them, it's like pretty interesting. What did I do there? Can disable that? Yes. Yeah, I think like triangle is like better there. And then regarding like the head shape, I kinda like want to improve upon that. Not quite happy with the head shape. But if I add color, then it's like kind of unmistakable, you know, like who I'm drawing. I find like interesting with like the floating hair. I think like even in her later... No, not in later ones. The later ones, she actually has like actual hair, yeah. But like judging from the original design, yeah. I think like cosplayers have it like hard regarding that. If they want to like include that. I think like this might be a possibility to like actually like do it one by one. I think like some actually go for a twin tail, you know, pigtail. And like leave it at that. Similar to like with the archive cosplay, right? With like halos. Some like go without like you know, they just go like the outfit, but not like with the halo thing, you know, because you cannot really replicate that. It's like some kind of plastic thing, and then you kind of attach it to your head or like something similar, you know. If you wear like a headwear as the cosplayed character, you know, then you can kind of attach the halo to their head. But if you have to do that, you know, like the form like whatever, it can get tricky. If you do like cosplay photo, you know, then you can like Photoshop it that you like have a halo in there, and then, you know, it's like somewhat okay. But in real life, you know, there's only so much you can do. If we come like to like Kyokoko's cosplay though, you know, with the tail, and then there's the plug-in Asakoko, for example. Oh man, you lose something, you lose something. This is like, yeah, I can remember that like from the shitpost review. I think like this was like one of Aki Rosenthal when they kind of reviewed this kind of meme, you know, like the difficulty of cosplaying, you will lose like something important. Or like the difficulty like in general, you know. Like Aki's like in a sense is impossible to do one by one. If you like want to do like any kind of type with like a tail, yeah, where does the tail go to, huh? You know, it needs to bounce up and down, especially it shouldn't like be like dead dragging on the floor, you know. Like people can step on it, it kind of like needs to be lifted up, you know. Even if you like can certain people, it's way. Actually, if I kind of imagine myself, you know, like plug in Asakoko, this sounds painful, especially if like someone touches it, and like, or like if someone bumps into you and like with into the tail, sounds painful. Yeah. Well, not that I know much cosplay, not about cosplay. I wonder if this will be covered in like my dress up darling though. Currently, I'm like watching that. I'm like not up to date with the episodes, but I'm kind of like catching up, you know. And yeah, it's like nothing where I like think too much, you know. I think like it like targets like the romance aspect. It's like the direction it like tries to go, I suppose. But I think like, yeah, the character like growth is like more interesting to me, I suppose, since and maybe like the cosplay topic in general. Alright, let me see. Phew, how do I do this? Okay, interesting. You know, like if I think about the cosplay of like, you know, a cosplay of Aki Rosenthal, for some reason I think like about Jimmy, who got cosplayed as her like a few times. And then like some of the photos, like I see them on my timeline sometimes. And to be honest, I think it's funny. And like nice to look at. I do like leave likes at like when I see those. I do like remember like one of those photos that are like really similar to like the JoJo meme, like where Dio approaches Jotaro, or like the other way around, you know. The approaching meme. And I think like I saw like something in the comment of like that they stood like in this pose for like 10 minutes or so, and when like people pass by, then there's like something to laugh at, I suppose, and like take photos of. It's like actually like really photogenic, this kind of like scene where like two Aki cosplayers like you know, like in this kind of JoJo scenario, you know, like where they're about to approach each other, like in buff Aki Rosenthal cosplayer, and like one that are like is like more of a thin guy, like some kind of like let's say like buff Aki, and then like a skeleton Aki, something like that, you know. Yeah, let's say like that. In German I have like a better nickname for that, but for English that like nothing comes to my mind. Like what can you call that, you know? Like someone who's like really thin. In general, like the idea of like cosplay, you know, even if you don't like really fit the body build for that. You know, there are like sometimes like guys in the cosplay of the girl, of like the girl character, you know, and when they like wear those dresses, and then it kind of like is interesting, you know, to look at, especially if they're like the exact opposite in like the body stature, you know, with like beer belly for example, or they're like some kind of machos, you know. They have like a full beard, like a dwarf, you know. it gets like super interesting looking at that. But you know, you support like, you kind of like show off, hey, this one character I like, you know, I cosplayed as him, I do not have shame, you know, something of like, I'm cringe, but I'm free, you know, somewhat, you know, like embracing like the things to like enjoy. And yeah, I do like that, to be honest. Like if I gonna meet them like in public, you know, like in the middle of a train ride or whatever, and there's like no convention going on, I'm gonna be like, what the hell, you know. But if there's like context, you know, if I do like know, okay, there's something going on related to that kind of get up, then okay, yeah, I can accept that, and then be like, yeah, wanna talk about that, can I take a photo of you or something like that, you know. Like I found like interesting that like kids nowadays, they do get fascinated like more or less when like people are like cosplaying, and when they're like in a really different get up, you know, and yeah, they take like photos here and there without asking, you know, without like posing next to them. It's just like standing from afar, looking like, having like a little bit of a grimace, like looking at them, and then yeah, slowly pulling out the phone, and then like, you know, and then like walking away, I suppose. At least that's like what I witnessed like one time. Not in a convention, but like, yeah, kind of like in a scenario where you were like waiting for the bus, you know. I'm not doing that justice, huh? And to be honest, I don't have to like draw it like that. Okay. Our plan, a different plan regarding that. So far, like the silhouette of the face, I do like that. But the pose, I need like something. Yeah, let's do something familiar, like something that I'm like really familiar with. Post, like regarding the hands and like what you do with that. Back in the days, when I would like draw a lot of my notebooks regarding like arts, you know, like scribbles. I did it like more or less like on a daily basis, you know, like every time there's like break, I eat and draw also. Like for 50 minutes. Like sometimes the short breaks are like 50 minutes, right? And I use this time to like scribble and like draw as much as possible. Mostly like hands or like kind of like half body, you know, half body. And I remember this like one of those things I like drew like pretty often. Hand-wise, but if I'm gonna do chibi style, I can really simplify a lot more. Okay. In a sense, I do like think that because like you do it on a regular basis, that you're like pretty like much in warm-up phase, you know? And with that, like your art looks like pretty good. I think like a lot of the sketchbooks arc I like did, they look a lot better than my illustrations like I like doing on a weekly basis, you know? Like sometimes I would like, back in the days, sometimes I would like upload these doodles I've like done. And they look pretty okay. They look pretty good, I think. But just like that, I don't do much with those anymore, you know. So once it's finished, I think, in my mind, then I'm not doing much more with that. But sometimes I see like artists like Keisuwabe, you know, they do like upload like sketches, like hakugakis, and then later on, like days later, like sometimes one day later, it's like, okay, this sketch, but it's like fully colored and like more clean, you know. And then it's like, yeah, maybe I should do that too, but at the same time, I do not have time. Chikanganai. Since it's like more a hobby of mine, rather than like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm like on a grind, you know. Am I an artist even? Yeah, I mean even artist if you have fun, you know. Like if you enjoy what you do. A lot of times where I like feel like exhausted and like tired regarding like the craft of art, you know, like doing that even in the first place. But if there's a purpose, you know, moving for purpose, and yeah. Some like beginners, you know, like if I don't know, sometimes I do like throw without reason, you know. Sometimes I did throw without a reason. Like if it came like to sketchbooks, you know. Sketchbook. I did love like those little sketchbooks. A lot of freedom. It's like okayish paper to draw on. Back in this I didn't really like mind what kind of paper I like draw on, you know. Unless it's like, you know, those kind of paper towels. You know what I mean? You can't like really do well on those like with a pencil. Need like a marker or whatever. I love your art scenes, especially the ones that fit my time zone, lol. Of course you're gonna love the ones that fit your time zone. Hello Derek, welcome to the art stream. Trying Aki Rosenthal, at least trying to. She's from Hololive. Welcome. I'm kinda like struggling on like finding a good pose, whatever, but I will like find out at some point, like what I can do here. I feel like I nailed the face, but I don't know like what to do with the hands, I suppose. So here we are in the struggle, but it could be like technically done. Let me think. If I have like this, what should I do with the hands? Yeah, this is simple, I suppose. Let's try like that. Then I have to do the posture like that. This. Do it, create it first, correct it afterwards, I suppose. So I'm like kind of focusing right now. Like if I'm not really satisfied with what I do, I mostly like focus on like that rather than like small talk. I do like to talk though, you know. But man, I'm not happy right now with the results like there. Like some are good, but it needs to be like 100% that I can be like at peace. But yeah, to the topic, you know, you brought like up time zone wise. I'm not really aware like what time zone like every single one of the streamer like how to say it. I'm not really aware of the time zones, preferred time zones like for my viewers, you know, like and what kind of like time should I stream so that it like fits them. I do be aware that I have a lot of like, at least like when I look at the analytics, you know, my analytics say I have a lot of like viewers from the US. I think the US right now, it's like, the sun is like up, you know, the sun is like up. For me, there's like no sun, it's like night time now. Yeah, art is frustrating sometimes. Kid at Americas used to usually stream at 1 AM for me. Ah, I usually stream at this time, yeah. Like for me, if I stream in the morning, it's like midnight for you guys, I see. Yeah, I do be aware of that. To be honest, I do like morning streams though, since I kind of like forcing myself to like wake up early. Usually I wake up early, but at the same time, I start the day off with something productive, you know. If I'm gonna do like really early, then it's maybe like nighttime for you. Like if I stream like at 6 AM, it's like, I guess 10 AM or so, 10 PM, 10 PM, 11 PM, maybe 9 PM for you. And then it's like a lot more optimal. Sometimes I do it like that, and but I do like lose a lot of sleep as well. And I do love sleeping, I say. I would love to try to sleep like for 28, 32 hours, you know. Like, Yuzuki Choco, for example, she sleeps a freaking lot. Or like her beauty sleep, I suppose. And if you sleep like so peacefully for a long time, it does help with your mood, I suppose. And like how much energy you restore. I wonder, you know. At the same time, we spend like a lot of our lifetime with like sleeping, you know. If we do not need to sleep, we could be really productive. And because of this productive kind of thing, you know, the issue of like not slacking off, especially if I have a job, you know, and people expect something of you, you need to earn money. You know, you can't like sleep that much. Like there is like an 8 hour, like for me as a full-time worker, okay, 8 hours of like working, and then I have like 16 hours left, you know. I could sleep this entire time, you know, but I need to eat as well. I have this kind of, you know, hobby as a streamer. I also have to draw to not get rusty. Yeah. I wish I could sleep less, but I don't know. I mean, you will have a good life. Maybe you will live longer than like your family and friends. And your surrounding, you know. I'm not like really sure, like usually when people are like able to sleep a lot, they don't, and with that like they're able to sleep well. They don't have that much stress in their life. Should I draw fingers? And imagine like You know, like Sakamata Chloe, for example, you know, who had the abuse stream. She kind of like showed a graph on like how much she sleeps, and that's like kind of the reason more or less why she sounds like so, I don't know, so cute, I suppose. Baku, baku, baku. And it sounds like really, yeah, like a lot, I don't know, like a lot more relaxed and everything. And I do like this kind of vibe. To be honest, I would like to try too, but man, I don't really have time. I wish I had more time, you know. But like, there's so much in this world. I do be like aware of like if you take like magnesium to yourself before you sleep, like 1 hour before, your sleep quality gets better. And actually, it's pretty good, especially if I had like a really kind of painful day, you know, like of like work, painful work, like a lot of manual labor. I have to move a lot. I have to like carry stuff. And yeah. And this gets into your bones. Well, I sleep more because of health issues, so I still feel bad in the morning. I do not get the cute effect, sadly. Yeah. People sleep because they need to restore their body, their brain, juices and everything. Like if we don't sleep, we die, you know? It's like something about the body affects the body functions. Well, I hope you will do. This will get like solved in the near future with your health. If it's like something you like have the entire life so far, you know, like to deal with, damn. But yeah. Hope I can give you a little bit of color in that regard, you know, like with the art stream here. There's like not much I can do though, you know. Like a lot of streamers, they sometimes have like a really passionate kind of, you know, back and forth like with the chats, I suppose. Sometimes like we kind of like pause them to like see, you know, oh, you changed my life, you know, but I don't like know what I can do much, you know. To be honest, I do like those I do like those stories, you know, regarding regarding that. Like listening to the stories, like kind of like, yeah. I like seeing that, especially in action. It's like interesting like how many stories there like are in this world, but not all of them see the light of the day. Some are like blocked behind language, you know, language barrier. And then yeah, there's also that. We can be like glad that there are like some clippers, you know, regarding Japanese streamers, you know, or like VTubers. But still, there are like, we have only so many translators and so many VTubers, you know. And it gets like more and more. Like, regarding JP, Flowclo is the latest one, but it will not be the last one, I think. Regarding Justice, this is also the latest Hololive EN, you know? Might not be the last. Maybe give it 2-3 years, I suppose. Of course, there's like the thing also that they're gonna focus more on the current members, make them stronger, you know? Like quality over quantity, right? don't use like the shotgun approach. And polish like the products you have currently. The talents. Of course, at some point you need change. But we don't need change so quickly, right? I think like Hololive is like moving at that kind of okay pace right now. They don't do anything wrong. It's like pretty solid for now. But when there's like you know, VTuber company that are like pumping out like gens like every 6 months, every 3 months, it gets kind of like hard to get attached like to, you know, like maybe not attached, but you know, get to know the newest ones, like you know, you get like 1 gen and you like need time to get to know them and warm up to them, and then whoop, one click of the eye and there's a new gen. I don't really have time, you know, to like pay attention to all of them. It's like similar to like anime seasons, right? Like every anime season there are like 20, 30, 40 anime seasons. You can only watch so many, right? Sometimes you're only interested in so few of them. Some people are like talking about this anime or that anime, but currently like busy right now, you know, with like watching 1 or 2 of those from the season. The current season, I like heard there are like some bangers out there, and then like the must watches I kind of like watch already, but then there are like other ones, and I'm taking my time. Like some already watched, but some I have not. Conversations are fun, but I unfortunately have to go right now, stay for college course. So see you again sometime. Alright, and I wish you success with the essay. Have a nice one. But yeah, regarding anime season, it does get hard. And then like some are not worth watching, or like considered as trash. I do like look at how it's called. Watch other anime YouTubers, you know, to like kind of estimate, okay, what is like worth watching, what's not so much, you know. When I was kind of like saw Hikaru, the summer Hikaru died, like on Netflix, I wasn't really sure if I should continue watching that, you know, because it had, for me, like, I'm a guy, you know, and then there's like a gayish flavor, yeah, and kind of like, I'm not too much into gay stuff. But then I heard like, you know, it's like about the horror aspect. The animation's like beautiful, you know, are really good. Are like really decent, and they're like pretty good at like building up the tension, like the kind of horror, you know, the unknown, the mystery there. So I kind of like continue watching there, but it's like something I, you know, I like kind of like watch while I keep playing Uma Musume, you know. Those are like those second screen kind of entertainment, while like it's kind of like with like the splits kind of attention, you know. Like I have like a lot of anime in these seasons where I like have like the background while like playing Uma Musume, and while under my phone, you know. And it does work. Like I have like the phone right in front of me, and right in front of me, like a little bit behind the phone screen, there's like the monitor screen, which is like playing up in full screen like the current episode, and does like work, you know. Like every career mode in Missing is like roughly 30 minutes or like 40 minutes for me, since I'm like kind of like skipping races as well and like the concerts. Yeah. But on screen, you know, on stream, if I were like to stream that, then of course I'm gonna have like the races, I have like the concerts, maybe like for the last one, if the Uma wins UR final, you know, Uma Pure Densetsu, pretty peak. And then yeah, there's like that. What are like some of those? To be honest, like I watch like a lot of those while playing MMSME, but then I kind of like recognize, hey, actually some of those are banger, you know? Like how maybe to read while like playing MMSME, I don't know like how this works. Maybe my brain is like working good enough for that. But maybe it's my desire of like, oh, I want the superpower, then maybe I get the superpower, you know? But like take it until you make it, I suppose, but not really, you know? Like I would like to have a perfect brain, you know, a perfect mind, to be able to like process like all and everything. Like a perfect mind, perfect brain is like for me like something I desire. And then if you can Kagebunshin like Naruto, oh man, this will be OP. You can learn a lot of things. You can like play things at double speed, triple speed, and you can still like understand and convert everything into your, you know, like a little bit more easier into your mind. That's like can only manage so much. But if you have like a super brain, oh man. Still, super brain doesn't mean like you're intelligent, you know? It's just like efficiency. And efficiency is like something I like do value. Efficiency as well, yo. How long I'm in? 1 hour already. Okay, let's move up. Let's move towards the finishing. Let's try to like make the line weight like good enough for now. Need to make sure to like quit somewhere regarding like how much I draw off the body. The outfit especially, how much do I want to draw? What can I leave out? And let's see about the rewards, you know. My latest art, they didn't get much reward. My latest ones. There's not much feedback. But I will not give up, you know. I will keep drawing. Regardless of the reward. Drawing can be fun. Drawing can be fun. Sometimes I feel like, I don't know, Sometimes I have the weird feeling where it does feel unfun, you know? Or like work. More, in a sense, it's like work for me. If I do it on stream. But at the same time, I need to make sure to not get rusty. I will get very stressed, you know, if it comes to that. So I kind of like prefer like to, you know, to let it feel like it's work rather than like being stressed if I like pick up the pen again and be like, man, I'm so bad or so, you know. I suck, I'm not good or something like that. I do get in this mood. Weirdly enough. Maybe it's like my pride, you know. Maybe like, man, I used to be so much better with this, you know. And yeah. And then I get like to this kind of mood. You can call it a mode, yes. But what I do about this? All of this. I wonder what the trick is there. It's not necessarily wrong what I drew, but just like about the feeling, the vibe. It's a vibe check when I draw. I guess yeah, it really is a... I didn't really thought much about it, you know. Like about my decision making drawing, but it's really a vibe check. It's like something AI... This is like something I kind of sense in like AI art, you know, like if the vibe check is like failing. Or like, no, not failing, but it's just like I succeed the vibe check, you know, like I do a vibe check on like AI art, but I feel like, you know, I don't get good vibes, you know. I feel like, yeah, this is not real. I do like feel really conflicted more or less when I do like see something's produced by AI, you know, but the guy's like behind is actually like, you know, a pretty nice guy, you know. Not like nice, but they're not an asshole, you know, like in a sense. But they use that thing. It's like, it leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. It's like, you know, and be like, I like this character, but that's not much fan art, you know. And I'm gonna look and be like, oh, nice art, but then it's AI, and then, at least also like sour taste in my mouth, you know. Because, it doesn't really have soul, you know. Like, besides the thing of like, okay, theft, you do not support artists with that really. It's like the thing of like, the soul is not there. It fails the vibe check. Like, it didn't really have a approach in there regarding a message, you know. Like what did they want to convey? It's just like a dude or a babe somewhere like in the wilderness with like mountains or a landscape, whatever. And that's it, you know. There's not much on the expression. While AI is like able to like focus on details and do a lot of those for some reason. It's just like, yeah, the vibe check still fails. Like if there's no soul in there really. Of course, there are like exceptions, like Neurosummer, you know. For some reason, she is deep, real, but I think like it's because of Vida, you know. He doesn't really use her as a standalone, but it's like an extension of his personality, of like himself. It's like a tool rather than like, you know, the replacement. It's not a replacement at all. It's just like, it feels like, yeah, something else. And maybe it gets like into the mind of like Emi Yashiro, I don't know, like from Fate's Day. Unlimited, you know. While it's fake, it's more real than the real thing. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's like something to think about. Why can this work while it doesn't work for the other thing? And like some industries, investors, they do be like interested in like those kind of things, you know? Because, okay, how can we get more money with like spending less, you know? How can we save? And then they're gonna see this kind of formula. Investors are not really like humans, you know, they don't think much about like the creativity or like what's good or no, it's just like about like money, you know, like about the profit. But for me, it's like mostly, you know, like when I do art, when I look at art, the vibe check must be like, so the vibe check must like, you know, it needs to pass a vibe check. Sometimes I like scrap art, you know, whatever I draw, because even if it's like it's like almost done, it could be a completed artwork. I do like erase everything, start from new, you know, because it just fails the vibe check. Like everyone has like a different kind of vibe check, you know, of course. But for me it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I draw derpy stuff, or like I draw like something expressive with like those kind of chibi, you know, and then it needs like this certain vibe, of course. Like, yeah, can draw. But like the motoric skills are like not the only thing. And everyone can like do it, you know. I think like it's this, in this one meme of, you know, it's kind of in the meme of like college student with like art degree and everything. And then random Twitter artist, you know, who draws like, you know, RKGK, sketch, scribble, when they have like a full-blown illustration, you know, a masterpiece already. Like this kind of meme as well. It's really like you don't need like education, you just need passion. Passion. I mean, drive you forward. All right. I could do something with the hands. the general vibe check is like, it passes like the general vibe check, but now like they're like a little bit of nitpicking. I can like, there's a little bit of a nitpick from my side. I have like to like kind of like do more, like shut those things up in my mind. And I'm kind of like talking to myself, more or less, you know. Like when I look at things and like criticize in my mind, it's like kind of like a conversation for myself, you know. But if I look at good art, let's say like cultured ones, then I'm kind of like, my mind is like acting up, you know, it's like this. Woof 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 woof. Buff buff ah buff, you know, in the, yeah, whatever. Something like that. This is how your mind works. How Tosan's mind works. But yeah. But everything, you know, the thing is like, as well, you yourself are your biggest critic. Like, I have no biggest hater than myself. No big, you know, I'm my biggest hater. But also my biggest critic and fan, I suppose. What do you say, you know, when you yourself are your biggest fan? Isn't this narcissistic, you know, as well? But to be honest, you need like a decent amount of like self-love, you know? But for myself as well, I don't have much self-worth, you know? I don't see much worth in myself, you know? If it's for other people, okay. You know, I put other people above myself. Like in a sense. That's kind of like, a little bit weird. But there are like some aspects of mine I do like my mind does like, I don't know. I like to describe that really. But you need like, a little bit of like self appreciation, as you know, as well, without being too narcissistic. Without falling into the kind of trap of like, oh, I'm the best thing in the world ever. No, no one can match me. Oh no, I'm more beautiful than you. Oh no, I'm more better than you. There's like a little bit more nuance than that, I suppose. Like a little bit of a healthy dose, you know, of like self-love, without like going to overboard. And like putting everything down, you know, like putting everything else like down. Eighth place, magnificent. A magnificent number and place for myself. A worthy performance, you know, or whatever, you know. Even if you didn't make it to first place, you still kinda like, I don't know. This is much better than like being depressed of like not making it. So, you know. And I do like admire like people who don't like waste so much time on like their failure, you know, but just like move forward and like look at the bright side of the things. And then you can experience, you know, was a good experience. And if you did with the audience, hey, wasn't it a good show? You know. Like Stuntman, for example, they also like, you know, because like I watch Shaky-chan, you know, they also like even if they messed up, you know, they're gonna still be like, hey, is this on camera? You know, if this turns out to be a good cut, then, you know, they're gonna use that, even if it was like not what they imagined, you know, like the optimal kind of like scenario, but, you know, if it's acceptable, then why not take it, you know? I'm not gonna break all bones or like risking our life again if this was a good enough take, you know? sometimes good is better than perfect, I suppose, you know. Like, you know, take the cards, you know, play with the start hand we've been dealt with. Don't like throw it away, huh? Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that. I'm not gonna do much more with the hands. It looks a little bit weird, I suppose. But at the same time, I don't want to do much. I can do more, but I don't want to do more. I drew too many chibi hands already, like chibi fingers and everything. Like just the base, just like the circle is like enough for me right now. But like little fingers is gonna be eh. If it's gonna be human fingers, then yeah, I'm gonna do it as always, you know. Okay, let's... can I still do something? If we're gonna move on to coloring, then I will move on to coloring. I will say I'm gonna do it now. Okay, let's see. The reference sheet is there. I will don't do background. If I'm gonna do background, I think I'm gonna do the background first and then draw the character. Like some proper background, of course, like with something, a room, a landscape, you know, something like that. For now, I don't want to like think much about drawing background. Do 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 do. I forgot something. It was like, yeah, about like where to cut it off. I think like about here. Okay, nice. At least like the color, you know, like filling up the base, determining the base, you know, was like pretty good enough to like kind of realize, okay, there is like more I need to fix. Okay, I'm locking in. Focusing, you know. Okay, passing the vibe check for the most part. Alright. Then lasso on those places here. Bring that up. And now, okay. Alright. Eyes. I. Chumi. I. So layering is not that complicated, I suppose. If you're gonna do like really a lot of things, then your PC or like might have like a little more problems. Not that my PCs are potato. It's not, but I don't know like now how to do it better. Like regarding coloring. It's like maybe like that's why I default to like chibi, I suppose. But yeah, I gotta look into that, you know, like coloring in anime style. I did try it a little bit, you know, like if you look at my past kind of artworks, I think like 2021, 2022 were like good examples. Maybe 2023, you know, like human bodies. And I can't draw that, you know, but at the same time, something in me is like getting really consistent at times. Like I was not a consistent artist at all. But I had like fun when there was like, I drew like a lot of Toa-sama fan art. And she liked every single one of those. She left a like on every single one of those. I pretty much, and this was like a good back and forth, and the reward, you know, after like doing Toa-sama fan art is like there. But at some point I only like drew for reward, and when there was like no reward I gave up also. I shouldn't have done that, you know, I shouldn't have given up. At some point, like, if you gain the recognition, you know, then it's gonna be like, yeah, let's go, boy. Yeah. Vamonos also, you know. Let's go. There's like the thing of slow and steady, you know. You don't need like instant gratification, to be honest. But there's something in our brain that like craves for immediate results, you know, then we're gonna be like that. Some of my artworks also like, you know, like, it's like taking time bomb, like if you like put something out on the internet, you know. It might blow up later. Like, if your motivation is like really tied to your to the success of your work. I was like that back in the days. Nowadays it's like kind of okay, you know. I am acceptant of like loss, of like losing, especially after Haruera, you know. But I kind of like learned the lesson before, but now that she actually know, then yeah, gonna let this live on, I suppose. I think like some other people try their best as well. But yeah, with that I will also like try to get Haruera, the Imamisime, you know, to let her win Arimakinen. Right now I have like a pretty good, I have like 9 speed, no, not 9 speed, 9 star spark of long of our parent, and then like one of 8 star spark in turf, but has like really good skills, really good white spark skills, you know, to like help with Arimakinen, like Nakayama race course, right-handed, winter runner, you know, like those kind of green skills. You have a lot of like prep done in there, and I do get like, in my attempts like so far, I was able to see like one inspiration kind of sparks, you know, like via inspiration, that she got like from D long to like B long. And it's very doable at this rate. But then I kind of got unlucky with like the acupuncture, And then with like 22% on like triple speed training could give like 60 speed or so while being the classic here. And yeah, wasting like 2 turns for that, more or less. Actually, acupuncture doesn't waste a turn, but you lose like 20 energy, you know, or like 10 energy if you fail the acupuncture. Like with a mood down, that means like less than a multiplier regarding like training. So yeah, and this kind of like fail Arima Keenan run. There's like a little bit of death in there, but in the end it's like, to put it simply, it's all Anji, you know. But also decision making is also like a thing that you can influence, you know. What do you go for, what to not go for. If you play it safe, you might be able to like, you know, have more success, but at the same time, if you're in a good role, you shouldn't like really risk it as well, right? You should like play it safe. If you're on a roll. Like take the W, don't crave for more, right? Don't bite off more than you can chew. Or so they say. Kinda like this saying. I do find it funny, more or less, when people are not able to like spell Japanese correctly. Back in days I kinda like roasted people if they can't like do that really. Sometimes bad mouthing, which was like not a healthy thing to do. But as I get older, me old now, I kinda get tired, so I kinda shut up for now. I do shut up. And just let them do it until they kind of realize themselves. If they have the wish to improve that, you know, then I can help them. For now I kind of like, you know, smile along. Back from trip with a triple P. Hello Deadfish, welcome to the art stream. I'm drawing here Aki Rosenthal from Hololive. Welcome, welcome. And welcome back from your trip. I hope like it was a fun one. It's kinda late-ish I suppose, but I think like, yeah, it should be fine. Like time-wise. I might be able to like finish that before like the next day hits. It was fun, but my legs hurt so bad. Alright, then let your legs rest. Maybe like take some magnesium, you know. Some of those what do you call that? Not really sure how you can call that in English, but it's like some kind of we call it like Brause-Tabletten or so, but it's like some kind of like magnesium kind of like, you know, I don't know like if tablet is like the right word, you know, we say like Tabletten, and if we can try to translate it, you know, I don't know like if tablets is like the right thing, but you put it in the water, it dissolves, you know, and then you can drink that. It's like good for like if you have like a lot of pain, you know, drink that like 1 hour before sleeping, and then really like helps with your sleep quality, and then you really like, you will feel restored after like you wake up or so. magnesium helps with sleep as well. But it got like to me like when I was like in a kind of work environment that had like a lot of physical labor to do, and with that also like I have like to deal with like a lot of heat. I was like in a work environment where I was like in a industry, you know, like a fabric kind of, and this had like something to do with like metalworking as well. And because of like so much of like stress on my body in terms of like temperatures, and then like physically exerting myself, like manual labor, there was like, you know, my colleague was like, hey, get like magnesium tablets, you know, or droplets, yeah, droplets was like called, and they help with like with the help your bones, they help you like with the pain, something like that. So maybe like you know, if you have like those available, maybe in form of grape sugar, I suppose. There's also like this kind of thing. Maybe I take that. But yeah, if your legs are like hurting, and you probably like had a lot of like walking to do, hope it was worth it, you know. You saw a lot of things. We walked 30 km the first day and 17 the next one. This wasn't good for my sedentary life. Yeah. But get used to it, I suppose. Like, it will make you stronger, you know. And if you keep it up, you know, it will stop hurting as well. I for my part am like at a work, in a job where I have to stand a lot, for example. And like also like have to walk. Unless you have like an office job, you know, you will get an office job. You can't really avoid that. Like standing, walking. So yeah, get used to it, I suppose. But I think like during school life, you don't really like stand a lot. But the thing is like, if you sit too long and then stand up, you do like want to like, you know, free up your legs a little bit, like walk around a little bit, you know. That's like why kind of like all the kids like back in the days, like at least like from my side, you know, like during school, elementary school for example, we love sports classes, you know, we love sports classes to take those. If it's like everything else but like, you know, sitting there listening to the teacher writing something on the blackboard with like copying, you know, the notes. If we instead go like from math to like, yeah, let's run, let's play volleyball, let's play tennis, you know, or so. If it was something like that, cool. Sometimes there would be like things to like measure your jump height, you know, or you do like a forward flip or so. I don't know, like sometimes like this, but overall it was like done in a fun way, like the pacing of like the sports lessons. I kind of like treated like sports lessons, you know, sport class, as like playtime more or less in my head. But when I got older, you know, there's like also like school for adults. I went to like those ones too. They had like sports lessons there too as well. When I got older, I treated like less as sports, you know. Just like, okay, I have to do that. Yeah, I think I did pretty good, like, even as adult. Like, during sports lessons. Don't you call those schools university? Not really, not really. Like, college? University is like something different than like the school I went to. It's like more of a job school. I don't really know how to call it, but like we call it like Berufsschule or so. Like we have like after high school, like the choice to go to college if you have a good degree, or like go to Berufsschule or so. I don't know like what you call it in English, but it's like when you do like a trainee at a job, then there's like a dual thing, a dual study stuff thing, where you not only learn in your job trainee, let's say you're gonna be a smith, then it's like you learn like the hand-to-hand, like the action at the blacksmith kind of thing, but you have to learn the theory in the school, you know? And they call it like, if I loosely translate it into like the job school, you know? The school of like blacksmithing, you know? Like the blacksmith class, something like that. And there was like those things there as well, of like where you have to learn English, where you have to learn maths, where you get like a little more insight into like the theory of like blacksmithing. For example, I didn't do that blacksmithing, but just example, you know. And then also sports classes, because okay, you do like a job that's like craftsmanship, you have like to do manual labor, but of course you have to like make sure to be physically fit, and then there was like sports lessons, something like that. Oh, I know, fantastic. It's for those who already know what they would be like to become. It has more practical lessons. Yes. It's like something like that, and usually you can do that while you're that as a teenager as well, but I was like an adult, so yeah, it's like a little bit okay, I kind of like worded like a little bit weirdly, I suppose. It's like, oh, university, right? No, not university. Yeah. But yeah, we had like that too. I did okay. I got like, I think a B, I suppose, yeah. There was always like the potential of an A, but the thing is like, when it comes like to sports, and when we do like something like soccer, I'm pretty good at defense. And I have a lot of endurance. I have a lot of like stamina regarding that. I can like run around, I can like chase the striker, you know, endlessly. Sometimes like play along with the feints they like do. Like I can like play around that and like still like block their shooting path, but still I can't like 100% like cover them, you know. I have only like so much limits, for example. And like regarding like scoring a goal, I was not really confident. I was like more confident like being the defense, because I was like really aware that like once everyone is like trying to aim for a goal, and when they get like a ball like stolen, you know, like by the other striker, you know, when I'm the last line of defense, something like that, right? I don't know like what it is. Why I do prefer like the defense, you know, but the thing is like, Tosan, you're the last line of defense, please cover us. Something like that scenario sounds really cool. That's why I kind of like stuck to it like that, I suppose. Even if I like older now, you know, sometimes I do be cringe. Have like my kind of like, yeah, kind of three scenarios in my head, you know. I do be like mature at points and be like, you know, do be acceptant of like things, even if I don't like to do those, but you know, sometimes there's like this little boy in myself, like, even if we grow up, you know, even if we like physically an adult, in our mind we still can like, you know, fool around, I suppose. Good job. Smiley face, yeah. I think this was like to the thing that I got a B in sports, you know. Yeah. It could always be an A. The sensei, the teacher, always like had that in mind. But yeah, he's like fairly like evaluating. He also like did something in regards of like, okay, do that many how do you call that? Sit-ups. There are like sit-ups, there is like, how it's called, Anthony. And I played like Ring Fit 2-3 months ago, but I forgot like how all those little things like are called. I only like remember sit-ups and then that's it. Maybe like bow shoot, bow stands. Some of those, yeah, I can't remember much anymore. But like for example, like he would like do those things of like, okay, do as many sit-ups you can, and I will grade you for that or so. I think I was like able to do a lot there. Like my body is really light, I suppose. Like, you see like my avatar, right? It like roughly represents like my body type, I suppose. I'm not a fatso or so at all. I was like pretty sporty. I did sports. Even if I didn't really like actively did sports, my body shape was still really consistent. And I could like do, for example, like multiple sit-ups, you know, for example. But it didn't mean like I was like strong or anything, you know, I wasn't a macho. It's just like I have a really light body or so. Sometimes they like do like this kind of like theory crafting, you know, like how are they able to do that even if they are not like built like Arnold Schwarzenegger or like John Cena or so, you know. But it's just like I have like less body weight, less body mass. It's like that means I have like less to carry, which is like the reason why I can like for example do like 100 sit-ups and you know, while other people can't, you know, something like that. Like if you don't weigh a lot, there's not much to carry, and I'm like pretty light. I'm pretty light. I'm like underweight, and when I like checked like regarding like body size, like how your body height is and then your actual weight, and I was like underweight when I look at there, and I can't really fix that, to be honest. I do like to eat a lot, but I don't really gain much. Even like after I went like to vacation, for example, like for anime convention, and then like ate a lot of artworks food like there, I don't really get fat. I always got D and F in PE classes, but the teacher gave me A or B in the end of the year. That's why I changed my school. Oh. Is this a good or bad thing? Regarding sports grades. Do you want it to be fair? Not really sure, like... I think like the teacher was like kind of like, you know, a nice one, I suppose. If they gave you like still good grades, despite your performance being not the reflection of your grades. To be honest, if you go like in for a job application and then you have like bad sports grades, it doesn't really like matter much unless it's like job application for manual labor, I suppose. And you kinda like, they kinda like want to like make sure that you're like physically fit for that, if you're like alright, you know, to like do those kind of things. But to be honest, if you do like an office job, for example, or like do stuff with art, I suppose, or like in a lab, apply like for a lab job, then you don't really need like good sports grades. Some nerdies though, like every class is a nerd. Some like try their really best to do well in class because they want like all A's also. They want an A in everything. And I can remember like, yeah, this archetype of like, you know, smart but not strong, not sporty, is not really like existent like in all class I went to, where there was like a nerd. Or like at least a clear class best, you know. They mostly would end up as like being the class representative. How do you call that? They call like incho. Japanese class representative, class rep. I think like, yeah, you can't like translate it any better. Yeah, class president, class rep. Like they would mostly like end up like being like the leader of the class, more or less, you know, like the representative, like the face of the class. If there's ever something coming up, then they would like do that. And along like with our vice representatives, you know, as well. Like in case like the rep is like sick, the vice is gonna step in or something like that. And it was always like, in a sense, okay, there's like the clear class best, and then like the other guy is like the most popular one, or like the other way around, you know. It was like mostly like that with the voting, that they always like go for the most popular one, you know. There's always like this kind of like, you know, popular guy in the class, or a popular girl. On my parts, it was like mostly the guys, like, you know, there's always like a class clown, and sometimes with that like someone really charming, for example. I was never like up for that. I was never like in the radar of like those people, you know. I rather let the other people lead, and then if there are like some, let's say, rough edges, then I'm gonna like smooth it out, I suppose. I always like to do it like that, you know. I liked fixing mistakes. In a sense, I do like cleaning, you know. When there's already something dirty, then it's easy. Then I know I have to exactly clean that up. But if I'm like not really sure what to like clean up at all, you know, because there's nothing like dirty, then yeah. In a sense, I do like work where I clearly know what to do, where it's clear what it's like, what's the task, you know. I always need someone to like guide me, in a sense. So that's like why I like those, why I like to avoid like those leader positions, you know, where they have like also to be improvising and like think out of the box. But I do like to take orders and then like follow that, you know. But now, what changed, you know? Nowadays, I can be flexible. I can be like, yeah, it's like a little bit weird, I suppose. I think like as time goes on, you do like evolve, I suppose, instead of like staying in your comfort zone, you know? Of course, everyone has a flowchart in their mind. Japanese people have also a flowchart. Because they don't like, I don't know. A lot of Japanese people are introverted, you know? But they do have like a flowchart on like how to interact with people. True, I like people to guide me, but not to demand too much. I like to be creative a bit on my own. Yeah. Like, during work, during class, you know, it's always like that you're like in a team, you know? You don't necessarily want to lead a team or like, take on battles. You're not sure about how to fight, you know, but if there's, okay, a clear goal, and they guide you like towards that, then it's good. I mean, you clearly know what to do, you know, in this kind of sense. And then you know like when to finish. And then you can kind of relax afterwards. Maybe in a sense it make, you know, like World War. There were like some people who still like fought the war despite it like being over, you know? I think like being too reliant on someone to guide you can be pretty bad. So at some point you need to like, you know, I'm like not like me right now, I would like stop doing the war, you know, but in the past I think I would be like the same as this one guy, you know, who's still fighting the war. Like still found like some soldiers, you know, thinking the World War still was going on, but you know, there was like those kind of findings. So yeah, be at some point like able to be independent, not too dependent, right? We have a little bit of like common sense here, right? Everyone in the chat here. I think like if I have to lead people, I can do it temporarily, but I wouldn't like consider doing that forever. In a sense, this might be like bad because I'm like leading a club, for example, like in a video game. Oh well, it's like easy enough. Do we really have some common sense though? I do hope so. I mean, usually like chat is a reflection of the streamer, you know. And so far, I've like kind of sold an impression on like everyone and like who chatted like pretty often. I do believe some of you gamers don't really need me, you know? Which maybe sounds bad, but the thing is like, I do know I have like this kind of voice. I can sound like someone you can go to and ask for help, and maybe, you know, I can help out. Like a therapist, you know, something like that. But the thing is like, if you do not need my help, if you do not need me, like the supposed therapist, I suppose, I'm not a therapist, but if you do not need anything of this help, you can be like stand on your own 2 feet, be like self-sufficient. Then I feel like at ease. I feel like great. Because I can do that too, like be self-sufficient, stand on my own 2 feet. Of course I have like here and there my weaknesses, you know? But that's like normal, you know? Everyone has like some flaws. Maybe some have like this flaw forever, but some might like improve and like be a better version than themselves, you know? Be a better version of their me of yesterday, right? Something like that. But you know, I still appreciate it, even though I do like think you don't really need me. I do appreciate like when people like come over and be like, hey, what up, To-san, you know? Long time no see. Or what? And gonna leave this chat on? I need something in the background. I don't know, like, to be honest, I do like appreciate still like the companionship, I suppose. Like something like that, you know, like an audience. Sometimes I need like something in the background. Someone who's like constantly talking or yapping. This can make the entire day. It's like what made like a friend of mine, you know, like their day, or like my little bro, as example. Like they're like, you know, they have like friends, they have like people around them, you know. But sometimes, just like me being in the same room and then just like yapping, you know, talking with them, or like sometimes we play like games together. It just makes the entire day, and then yeah, it's just like family bonding, like in case of my little brother, and like a friend in the case of like one of my friends, you know. It's just like in the sense of like, yeah, I'm like looking out for you, you know, something like that. Nice, it's enjoy too. Cool, fantastic. I do have some regulars as well, but those regulars stopped being regulars at some point. You know, it's like the thing. Sometimes I see them every like 2 weeks one time, or like every one month like one time, you know. But sometimes I do like feel kind of happy to like see their names again and like their usual pattern, you know. I say like pattern, but it's like I do kind of like know by now, okay, they're like this, they're gonna say this like what they usually say, this like their profile picture, you know. Sometimes it's like even they've changed their profile picture name, sometimes I do like, oh, is this you? I get like the vibe, the impression that it's you, or something like that. But sometimes it's gonna be wrong, and then yeah, or sometimes, and yeah, sometimes like this. Of course, there are like people who also lurk as well. Sometimes like some regulars turn to like lurkers, or like I do get lurkers. But to be honest, I don't really see a problem with that as well. Like I do like lurking as well. I'm like a ninja when I go into other streams. But when it's needed, I speak up, you know. It's like the thing of like, you know, they play a game, they want to do it on their own pace, and I respect that, you know. But if they need help, they will ask, and then I will like be there, you know. Or if they seem to be lost, you know. If they seem to be lost, and then they'll be like, oh, where do I go? And then I can be like, hey, go this direction, or you know, something like that. Wow, how recognizable am I? I don't know, you know. But if I do not forget the name, if I do not forget about you, then I think it's a good sign. Sometimes people pop in a second time and be like, who are you, you know? Sometimes you need like to make a kind of impression that's like memorable for me, like a first impression, you know? Some people are like a one and gun, you know? I do like, for example, I draw like, let's say like Elizabeth Roseblood Flame. And when I attract like some of her viewers, you know, to that. And then, yeah, I only saw them there. Maybe a second time in another stream, but other than that, it's like, okay, you're this one from this stream, you know, something like that. Or like when I play Omori, then I saw like a lot of people who only came for Omori streams. But if I do art streams, if I do Blue Archive streams, if I do like any other stream like karaoke, I do not see them there, you know, something like that. Like I do remember people in this kind of way, that okay, this game, this stream, this name, or something like that. Sometimes I do remember people from years ago for some reason. But I think it's like my years of being a streamer. Like, actually I streamed like since 2022, I suppose. Or 2021? Not really sure. I think like I started 2021. For 1 year straight on Twitch or so. Sporadically on YouTube? Until I kind of like decided to like do it like regularly. Around 2023, I think, yeah. Around there. For the most part, I was sporadic in like streaming, you know. Sometimes I would like do a marathon, endurance, you know. I would like stream for days, and sometimes there would be like complete silence for like months. Where I lose a lot of regulars. It's kind of like that. So yeah, I decided to like do it at regular basis, you know, every week. Scheduling even. Like I'm not a guerrilla streamer anymore. Like you know, with the guerrilla tactic of like to the Vietnamese fighters, you know. It's just what it means to be a human. I guess to move on and such, you know. Yeah, generally you like evolve. In some ways or another. You do get better at things. Naturally. I think like streaming helped me like, I don't know. I can no audience now. But to be honest, I was like able to do it before. With like classes, you know, like presentations. To act like in front of an audience. And to do it even for hours. Not for hours, but like for the span of like 30 minutes, I suppose. No, 20 minutes, yeah. Usually like 5 to 10 minutes should be like presentation. But at some point, yeah, it was like, okay, try like 30 minutes, 20 minutes or so. This was like in the job school thing, you know. I don't know, like, what was like the deal with like my kind of like study and job schedule, like work schedule, like around like those kind of presentation topics. I don't really know what like came into me, but I suppose it was kind of elitism that like has like driven me, you know. I have a little bit of a superiority complex, like if I'm around idiots, you know. When I try to be like smarter than smarter than I actually am. I have a little bit of this kind of a weird side on me, I suppose. Like if I'm the only smartest guy in the class, in the room, I suppose. Or like of my team, let's say that. Then I kind of like fake it until I make it, I suppose. No, I actually was like the best of my team. I did a trainee as... Can I talk about that? Let's say like I did a trainee in like craftsmanship, you know? It's like this category of like, okay, blacksmith, people like doing woodworks, metalworks, you know, this kind of field. Even like being how it's called. Yeah, like craftsmanship in general. And for the job I was, there were also like 3 other trainees with me there. And let's say, I guess I was the only guy who was like the smartest. I had like the highest degree there from all of us. But in general, I was also like the most mature out there, like mentally. Physically, they were maturer than me. They were older than me. But mentally, I was more mature. And then I kind of like something clicked in my head. I don't know. To be like acting like a little bit more like a class representative, I suppose. And whenever there is like something like that, superiority complex, I don't know, like, I don't know how you call it, but whenever there's something, those conditions I met, I do like a lot better, like regarding my performance. I don't know, this carried me for some reason. But once in a room where there are like a lot of smart people, you know, if everyone's special, then no one is, you know, something like that. I'm kind of like slack. I do slack. I kind of like scratch barely by. I do like the bare minimum. I don't like try, to be honest. But to be honest, when I was like during my best time years of like being a really good student, I did really have a good work schedule, learning schedule, where it was not really a grind. Just like casual, like looking at my notes, you know. I did like 3 or 4 times in a day. I do it like about 5 minutes or so. Let's say like before eating or like after like watching anime or so. Like mostly like before I go to bed or like after I wake up, you know. Like during those times, your brain is like working really well. Like if you study like right before sleeping or like after waking up, it does like a lot more. Like one of the reasons why like school is like starting so early, you know. But there's also like evening schools, right? Like for if you do like homework or like after school lessons, something like that. Like evening and morning are like really good times to like learn. I kind of like read that somewhere. I mean, I kind of applied that to like my learning schedule. And I did pretty good. I wrote like a lot of like B's and A's. But I kept like a bare minimum at some points. Like I think like during the last quarter of my like school year there. Evening school sounds like a bliss. Yeah, it is. I think. I was never at one, but I feel like with my learning schedule, this was like pretty much like that. Once, however, I got like you know, surrounded by smart kids, then everything like crumbles, you know. I have no one I need to prove my smartness, my worth anymore, you know. Superiority complex was not there anymore. It was like poof, gone. I just did the bare minimum. I wrote like C's, B's, you know, sometimes did A's, you know. I did really the bare minimum. And when it came to math, I sucked. At least I didn't try anymore, you know. I just did the bare minimum. And that was enough. Kinda was like stalling for time, more or less, before I have to actually go to work. It was still a trainee kind of like period, you know. But I don't know really what it is. Maybe it's something evil, you know. Like why I actually became like so good at like learning and studying. The thing is like in Assassination Classroom, you know. I don't know, like if you know like this Shonen Jump thing. But it's like there's like a teacher, you know, who looks like a taco alien or so. And he's like able to destroy the world. And then but before he does that, he wants to like be a teacher and teach a class. And then the class, you know, are like consistent of students who all like are like assigned to kill him, you know. But then they are not able to kill him because they're like kind of like skill issued, you know. And then okay, you can't kill me, you know, something like that. And in this kind of thing, it's like a lot about teaching and like about learning as a, you know, as a kid, and a little bit of a niche of it, like okay, assassination, kill this teacher or so, something like that. And there was like kind of was saying that like it's a little bit sad, you know, but as long as you have someone to look down on, you know, then you're like more happier or so. And I had a lot of people look down to, you know, like someone below me, that you actually like perform a lot better. But when I was like in a space where I couldn't like look down on people, you know, then yeah, I couldn't really blossom. I don't know if that makes me a bad human, like back in the days, you know, if that makes me like a bad person. But it's kind of like, and every person has like something like that, a dark side. But it doesn't mean that they're like evil in total, you know. I did that as well, but changed my school and now the standards have risen up. Ah yeah, looking down at people, you know, yeah. Nowadays I don't really like try to like, I try like to be a better person, I don't know, like the world needs a little bit more kindness as well. Sometimes I do have like something to say, but sometimes I like retract my, you know, sometimes I like typing the chat, you know, it seems like Tosan used typing, you know, but sometimes I like stop typing, be like, maybe I shouldn't say it, that sounds really mean, you know, something like that. I do have like a little bit, I do have self-control, I can read the room, you know. Sometimes it's not necessarily to like roast someone, like just like farm some likes and upvotes, you know. Sometimes it's just better to like shut up and just leave them be. And maybe like try approach in a healthier way. But yeah, in terms of like me being a bad person, or like thinking maybe I'm a bad person, you know, I was a bad person. What if sometimes I'm really disconnected, you know, if it comes like to empathy or like kind of like immersing myself into like the suffering of someone else's, you know, like in a movie or so. Sometimes I'm really disconnected or so. I was really disconnected, let's say that. But I kind of like, you know, if you like feel connected to like, if you like, for example, like care about the thing, it's like a different matter. But I don't know if it's like sometimes people have like problems they're like not aware of, you know. And maybe I have like some, you know. Sometimes I do think, I'm a psychopath, you know, something like that. But yeah. As long as you do more good than bad, I guess. But sometimes it's like the thing, sometimes people only remember like the bad things about you. And then it's also like, maybe I'm too... We don't have any common sense. Yeah. But, well, that's just like a little bit of like a dot, you know. Sometimes we have like some things we do see as weird. We do see the need of like fixing. And to be honest, if something like sticks out to me, I do want to fix that, you know. Like if I never noticed that, maybe, you know, try like a little bit more to be a bit more kinder to everyone. It can go a long way. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to people, you know? It doesn't cost anything. If you do be rude though, however, it can cost a lot maybe. Like... I try to like think of examples, but you know, like... I do like watch, for example, like Legal Mindset, like LawTuber. And if it comes like to rules, you know, and breaking rules, there can be consequences, you know, something like that. In a sense, I treat like, I do like try my best to treat everyone with some kindness, but sometimes it's like, yeah, if you're gonna break the rules, maybe we're gonna roast you, you know, something like that. If it's justified, of course, you know. I can be a little bit, you know, hard on you. On you all. But generally, I try my best. I do like that, you know, when I go like to streams, you know, and then the streamer's like really accommodating and be like, hello, welcome to the stream, I'm doing that right now. Welcome, you know, something like that. Oh, I'm currently talking about camping, you know. Preparing to go for a trip, something like that. Welcome to join in, you know. And if they're gonna keep talking, you know, they're really like welcoming kind of way, getting people in, I like that. There's a thing about that. And something nice to like keep in the background. Hearing people talk about something they enjoy. True, they can be so kind. Yeah. Every person has like the tendency of like being like kind. It's just like sometimes, you know, we do rant. We do have like to like let out steam. And Twitter, social media is not the healthiest way to do so. To like let out steam. But if you do it on one-on-one, yeah. If you like write in a diary, okay. But don't do it public, you know? Something like that. Singing is also like a healthy way to like let out steam. I do like karaoke for that reason sometimes. Sometimes I have like something pent up inside, but I'm gonna let it out with like singing, you know? Some other people do that too. Pent up feelings can be like frustration, you know? It can be like anger, you know? Whatever, you know? But putting this into like a song is pretty healthy compared to like being a keyboard warrior. Art as well, you know? Like actually, art. Like everything where you can like express yourself, I suppose is a healthy way. I suppose, yeah. Yeah, after your last stream that I was on, I saw on YouTube that it's a new game. It looks so good. After my last stream. Was it Blue Archive? I did only gacha there. Last stream was like on Monday, no, it was Tuesday or so. I'm thinking about that. You can't really see it, but I'm like kind of doing a grimace, like a thinking grimace. I think I should like draw a toggle for that, I think. Ah, man. I do need more expressions, I suppose. Like, I keep like the mostly on the standard one. I have like only few toggles so far, but I should like update it at some point. Like draw a little bit more. But for today, like with Aki, and the last one that was on Silksong. Ah, Silksong, yeah. Silksong is pretty great. Of course, you need to like play the prequel for that, like Hollow Knight, to be able to understand like the premise of like that, but or actually it's like to really appreciate it, you know, but yeah. I think if you just watch, I think it's like fine. Like it's pretty smooth. It's I think I can carry it with my talking as well. Yeah. But for today, like with the drawing, I think I'm done. It's like nothing much more, but simple is the best, I suppose. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream today more. Today is now Saturday for my time zone. It's now Saturday. I haven't like scheduled anything, but I was like thinking about streaming my Champions meet in Musume. Horse racing. Horse girl racing. I was thinking about that. Having it like on camera. I'm gonna think about it, you know. And we'll put it up like later today maybe. If I feel like it. If I have time, of course. And maybe I can talk about a new thing I got into. I have like small talking topics, you know. But let's keep it to later. And let's have a healthy amount of sleep. I think like I'm gonna hit the bed like after that stream. In any case, that's all for today. That has been Fighting Out of Azuki. Roughly 2 hours, you know. A little bit later, but I'm kind of just like yapping, filling up the time. But yeah, have a nice one. I wish you a nice rest of the day, evening, a good night, whatever time zone in the world you all are. With that, I'm gonna say bye bye.